Hey guys, we're back with the 50/50 showcase. This is number 18, Elara. She is a beam rifle poison power mastery corruptor. She is the 18th of my 50 level 50 characters from the City of Heroes Homecoming Excelsior Shard character, blah, 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 etc., etc. You've probably seen some of the other ones. If not, welcome and go and take a look at the other 17. But the idea is this: I'm going to be playing through 50 of my level 50 characters, doing a variety of solo and team content, showcasing their abilities, talking about the build, looking at strategies, showing you not just the paper what this corruptor, this build can or should be able to do, but in actual gameplay, what it's capable of. The solo stuff I have, control over because it's one character and I'm controlling the missions, but the team, I don't know who these teammates are. I don't know what they're gonna do. So that, of course, creates some, interesting, fun, chicanery, I guess. Anyway, without further ado, let's take a look at her mids build. And if you've been looking for the posted mids builds, I've been unable to share them through the mids link itself because it is currently bugged. As far as I understand, through the mids reborn Discord server, they're aware of the issue and are working on a fix. I have no ETA on when that's going to be done, but you can at least take a look at the screenshot here if you wish to copy what I'm doing. But as soon as I can export those builds again, I will. But I've been unable to do it for the last couple, three or so of my builds. But anyway, here is Elara. This is her build. As you can see, she has almost everything from beam rifle with the exception of penetrating ray. She has a bunch of the poison debuffs with the exception of the ally res. I've spoken about this in previous videos with, especially with the corruptors, buff sets in general. A lot of them have res powers for your allies, but as I might be playing solo, that's not going to be very useful. And even on a team, it's not super useful because nowadays people all have temporary res, powers they've purchased from the pay to win store. People have awakens that they get as drops. People have their own res powers. So I find this is sort of a wasted pick these days, especially if it's only just able to res an ally and not do anything else. So, there's an example of one right here. I mean, this one, and when the ally is revived, they would get a little bit of a buff, but when are people dying? And if they're dying, do I got to run over there and res them? No, especially on this particular build, because this build is not built as some sort of team support buff, heal everybody. No, not at all. Her theme is you're going to see is completely ranged debuff. So enemies downrange, blasting away at them with the beam rifle debuffs, blasting away at them with the poison debuffs, and just shredding any thought they have for defense, resistance, whatever. I'm going to just rip it apart. I also do not have Venomous Gas, which is the tier 9 debuff power that is probably Poison's one true self-protecting power. The other ones you have to hit the targets downrange and hope that they're the ones shooting at you, whereas Venomous Gas is a PBAOE aura around yourself and it immediately protects you from the things around you that are trying to kill you. It also debuffs their resistance and defense. But I did not take it because, again, the theme on this character is not to mix it up and try to get in there. I'm going to be standing back, just firing things at the enemy. Debuff, 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 debuff. Poison, I think, has some of the strongest debuff, just raw numbers off the top. So I'm going to be leveraging that a lot. Plus, I've got some damage I can throw out as a corruptor. I do have support in the form of those debuffs, but also I've taken the leadership pool here with maneuvers, assault, and tactics. But really, that's as much for my own, personal buffing as for the team's buffing. But yeah, she's just going to stand back, blast away, and let those debuffs soak in, weaken the enemies, and just let that help her to increase her damage, to destroy enemies, and just wipe them out pretty quickly. So let's take a look at what I've got here. So with the beam rifle, it's what it sounds like. You've got a big old laser beam rifle and you're blasting things. There are some debuffs built into these powers. If you take a look, for instance, and some control as well. Single shot, it's got a knockdown, and the special is referring to the ability to trigger the disintegrate mechanic, which is beam rifles, shtick. Okay, it's this spreading, contaminating. I think it's a minus resistance type of debuff that hopscotches through enemies. That once you have them disintegrating, you blast them again, and that special can trigger. Like a proc, and then it'll cause the disintegrate to jump to nearby enemies. Um, you're going to see in team game that that's not very useful, I hate to say, at least depending on your situation and what you target. I'll talk about that in a second. And you'll see it in action as well. But anyway, that's kind of the idea. But single shot, right? Blast, boom. Charge shots, same thing as single shot. You got a knockdown, you got special. So you can knock down, knock down. Cutting beam, there's your first AoE, but it's a ranged cone, so that's a minus defense plus the special. You got disintegrate is the special attack beam that you have. It does have a nice minus regeneration to it. Let's see if I can get the actual numbers on that. The regeneration is minus 150%. Move my head out of the way. Actually, here, let me blank my camera for a second so you can see these numbers better. There's the minus 150 regen, right? It also lowers defense a little bit as well. But the main deal on this is that sorry, the minus defense I think is actually coming from let me turn that off. Yeah, it's coming from my interface. So skip that. Raw out of the box, disintegrate just applies the potential disintegrate debuff, this hopscotching damagey thing. Its main thing here is you set that up and it also does a minus regen. So that's a nice power to target tough enemies, something like, giant monsters, arch villains, hero class things. The problem on a team, so I'll address this issue now, is that typically the target you pick for disintegrate is dead before the disintegration actually starts hopscotching around. So that's sort of the weakness of this set. Uh, because when you're on a team, you're sitting there looking for the big old toughest target out there, and you want to disintegrate it, right? So you blast it with disintegrate, and guess what? The whole rest of your team is also attacking that target. So by the time you start firing at it again to trigger the disintegrate with your other like blasts here, single shot, charge shot, whatever, that boss is murdered. He's dead. Or even if he's still alive, all the minions and lieutenants standing around him to which the disintegrate effect could spread, they've been slaughtered by some, blaster AoE that just has wiped them out, or some judgment AoE. So it's a great concept mechanically. Disintegrate, you shoot a tough target, you shoot it again, and it starts to spread the disintegrate effect. But in practice, in real game, on a team, especially a high level team, the enemies are freaking dead before it ever takes hold. So it's more useful solo. It's more useful if there's, maybe two huge groups all join together, or maybe you're on a smaller team, that kind of thing, where you're not just steamrolling. And I suppose you could make that argument for any buff or debuff, really, which I think is where a lot of the angst comes in for the game from people that are playing support type of characters that at the high level game, their powers are meaningless or useless and they don't do anything. Everybody's just spiking damage, spiking defense. Who cares about your buffs, debuffs, heals, controls, whatever? You don't need it. And that's true. I mean, now in the incarnate level stuff, it's not as true. You get, but the problem with that is those are mostly locked behind the trials and stuff. And a lot of people don't want to get on the trials. And the trials, in my opinion, have become so formulaic now, it's kind of pointless to even join them. Everybody's just, you're marching through A, B, C, D, whatever order of operations there is to finish the trial. And, speed run done. Woo, exciting. Boring. Anyway, so disintegrate, you'll see it more in my solo than you will in the team stuff. So watch for that. But anyway, if you take a look at the information on it, it says you're firing this stream of energy at your foes, which causes them to slowly disintegrate and suffer high energy damage over time. So it's a DOT. Even after the damage over time effect wears off, the target may have the regen rate reduced and suffer from the disintegration effect for additional period of time. Using beam rifle powers on targets affected by disintegrate will inflict additional effects. So if single shot, charge shot, lancer shot, and penetrating ray are used on the target that is disintegrating, they have a chance to cause this effect to spread to up to 3 nearby targets that aren't already suffering from disintegration. Targets affected by this disintegrating spread will also suffer some energy over time damage. It doesn't sound like they suffer the regen debuff over time, so the only spread is more energy damage over time. So, great. It is what it is at that point. So it spreads damage. So the nice thing, if you can do it, is you want to target center mass. You'll see this as I try to go through a solo or like in a team. I'm going to try to target center mass, a tough enemy, a boss, or maybe a pesky lieutenant. Hit them with disintegrate first, and then plug them with 1 or 2 or 3 other single target attacks and start to get the spread. Depending on what team I'm on, it may work, or that, like I said, the mobs may be already destroyed and won't make a difference. So we'll see how that plays out in team play. In solo play, it's much more effective. However, you also have to have some means of kind of containing the enemy in a pocket so that they're staying near each other. So that's where some control kind of stuff would come in nicely. So you do have a little bit of that in the poison debuffs, which we'll take a look at in a second. So anyway, that's really the idea behind beam rifle, right? Lancer shot, it's got a stun, which is nice. I didn't take penetrating ray, which is just a narrow cone. Piercing beam, sorry, penetrating ray is a snipe with another knockdown, so it's pretty much like your other single target stuff. I did take the narrow cone. Piercing beam, minus resistance on that, so it does have some debuff. The same special chance. Usually you can only maybe narrow cone a couple, 3 guys at most. And then overcharge is a great ranged nuke. It's probably your only really in melee range attack as well, because you can just unload overcharge point blank on somebody. But, extreme damage, damage over time, minus defense, things are stunned, so it kind of pairs nicely with Lancer Shot to get the stuns. So you got some debuff in here. You got some knockdown for control, you got some stun for some control, you got some minus resistance, some minus defense, some minus regen kind of mixed in here. So beam rifle's a nice kind of debuffy pseudo control blast set, and then you get this potential for damage over time spread with disintegrate. Then on poison, here's where this corruptor does what it's gonna do. It's gonna have a heal, which this is a terrible heal. If you're taking poison and you're trying to be a healer with it, no, you picked the wrong set. If you're on a team and they're just screaming heal me, and they think this is gonna do something, no, get off that team. You're not gonna save a bunch of lives. It's just it's weak. Right, I suppose you could slot it and make it decent, but it's just a single target lob of healing. No, that's not your purpose, guys, okay? So don't do that. It does give some toxic damage resistance, so maybe if you're fighting Hydra, it's nice as sort of a buff. But other than that, it's just sort of a top off an enemy or an ally who's been, hurt or a pet or something like that at the end of a fight. Now here comes your bread and butter powers, right? In Venom, this is minus resistance, minus defense, minus regen, minus heal with a splash. Let me blank my face out again. Boop. So you can kind of see this, right? You envenom your foe, nasty poison. The poison then spreads to nearby foes, so it's a small little splash, right? The toxin attacks immune, blah, blah, blah. Your nuke and defense, damage, resistance, hit point, regen. And they will heal less. So this is nice. It's probably more, minus heal is probably better for, either upper level game or PvP. But anyway, if you just take a look at the numbers, right? We got minus 15 resistance here, minus 23% defense. You've got the healings minus 75. I'm not sure why this is showing dupes. Same caster. Yeah, I forget why it's showing it twice. There must be something I'm just forgetting that I'm double clicking. Anyway, let me just double check to see if I have. Nope. I don't know. I forget why it's showing it twice. I was almost thinking, like, is that a scourge effect? I don't know if anybody knows, let me know in the comments why that is. I do not recall off the top of my head why it's showing double numbers there. Anyway, Envenom, single target, shredding resistance and defense. You've got weaken similar to that, minus defense, or sorry, minus damage, minus hit, minus special. So that'll weaken their holds and control powers, that sort of thing. So that again might be more PvP-ish because you don't see too much of that in actual enemy groups. Minus damage, minus defense. So the way I kind of will have this set up is, if I want to uh, open up on somebody, I might hit him with weaken first because that's going to lower their damage and to hit values against me so that when their initial return fire comes back, they're going to have a debuff applied to them immediately on their to hit and damage against me. So the to hit is going to be what is it, minus 35. Their damage debuff is minus 15. I have it slotted for that sort of thing, so it's going to really make it harder for them to hit me, which is of course what you want to avoid, getting hit. So I can open up with that, and then I can then hit them with envenom to then shred defense and resistance, so then my blasts start roasting them. Another thing you can open up with is neurotoxic breath, although it's not as good at neutering your enemy. But neurotoxic breath has a minus speed, minus recharge, and I think I've slotted my. Nope, I didn't. Sometimes I'll slot it with some of the procs that will debuff some more. I just have it slotted with some damage procking. But anyway, so neurotoxic breath is another way to debuff an enemy's ability to damage you because they're attacking less. Antidote, that is just an ally, resistance to mez, so it's protection. So if you are on a team, Alkaloid and Antidote are your, two main buffs. They won't help you at all. So on solo, Alkaloid and Antidote are useless. So if you are going to be just soloing with this character, you don't need either one of those. Paralytic Poison, this is a nice single target hold power that you can use, and I think I have mine slotted for, did I put the, yeah, I put the +2 mag chance lockdown, so I could actually one-shot hold a boss with that power like that. You can slot that for, damage procs and stuff. Poison Trap is a real nice, this is kind of like one of your best openers, even though it's your most dangerous because you have to get into, AoE range with it, like melee. So you have to swoop in there, drop this at their feet. It's got a nice hold, a nice minus endurance recovery. It's got minor damage over time, so you can just swoop in. I've got mine 6 slotted, as you can see here, with some damage procs thrown in there. I've got a lot of damage procs sprinkled throughout this build. So really, I got multiple choices, like some sort of exam here, in order to open with. I can swoop in, poison trap on a team. That's great. You got some tank in there occupying aggro. You come in, drop your poison trap, pow. That's actually nice if you also have venomous gas if you plan on playing melee. But if you're going to do that, you don't want to take beam rifle. You want to take something with more melee and AoE, attacks. Something like, let's say, electricity, where you got short circuit, or you've got radiation with irradiator, fire. You can just drop rain of fire and fireball right on your own position. Something like that. I'm playing stand back, fire, beams, poison, pew pew pew. I can go swooping in once I've kind of got things debuffed and drop poison trap, or I could swoop in, open with this, hit him with overcharge, blast, blast, and then pull back and fire away, which is why I do have hover on this build so I can swoop in, swoop out, keep at range, right here. I've also got the leadership package for some more buffing and that sort of stuff. If you look at my totals, I don't have a ton of defense. Not too bad. It's in the 20s, so that's decent, right? Smash lethal 40%. Again, none of this stuff is really going to save your life, but if you can debuff first, neuter some of their to hit, some of their damage, some of their recharge, hold some of them, control some of them, knock some of them down, you can reduce and mitigate a lot of the incoming damage before it even touches your defenses and your damage resistance. If you get jumped and they're swarming all around you, you're screwed at that point. You just don't have a good way to get yourself out of there, unless that's why I hover. I'm like, let me get out, I'll swoop up in the air and start firing down at them. Uh, Great team build though. Let me just tell you, hopefully you'll be able to see this on team. You can just hover, blast, fire away. nuke and neuter everything that is attacking your enemies. You're not going to be healing people, so don't be running around trying to throw alkaloid on some damage guys. No, you're better off swooping in and throwing a weaken, dropping poison trap, something like that to save them rather than trying to heal them. Okay, poison your enemies. Do not try to alkaloid heal your allies. It's not worth it. If one person dies, sorry, you're going to be much better off saving your team by hitting the enemies with all these nasty debuffs. All right, other than that, I took Power Mastery because I am a fairly high recharge build, I believe. Yes, actually no. Actually, when I hit, I think it's I do have Hasten. So once I hit Hasten, that's kind of where I've got some decent recharge, 95%. But the reason I'm kind of going, at least with Power Mastery, is a couple of reasons. Is, you get power buildup, which is going to help to give you the plus special, which is nice for all these debuffs and controls. Plus the conserve power is nice because I am going to be throwing out a lot of fire. I'm going to be shooting, 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 both with the poison and the beam rifle attack. So I need to have a way to mitigate some of that stamina loss. So that's one of the big reasons I went right here. 1, 2, conserve power and power buildup for this one. Temporary invulnerability, that's just smash lethal, nothing fancy there. So that's really my main concept here with the Power Mastery is just get the power buildup on this character. Then the only other thing I can mention is, again, I got lots of damage procs. If you kind of take a look through here, you've got the Touch of Lady Grace sitting here in Cutting Beam. Got the Resistance debuff sitting here in Cutting Beam. I've got the chances for hold in a couple of the shots. I've got the PBOE Endurance boost for the Corruptor Scourging Blast. Weaken's got the chance for energy damage. No, I didn't take the chance for plus to hit. And Venom has the chance for energy damage. I've got the +2 proc right here. Piercing Beam has the resistance debuff. Chance to hold and devastation. What else? I got the chance for negative damage up here. I've got the chance for negative, procs, procs, procs. So I can get lots of extra little boosts of damage here, there, everywhere. And then the last little bit is if you take a look at my incarnate choices, right? I've got intuition. This is going to, go feed right into this character's theme. Intuition is going to boost holds, defense debuffs, your range, which is nice because I'm firing, down range to hit debuffs, damage boosting slow. So it's really great for poison, for beam rifle, that combination. This is really going to boost a lot of my stuff. Right. Then I've got the paralytic interface, which is minus defense, minus damage. So that's going to give me some protection because I'm lowering damage. Plus, I'm shredding more defense, which is always nice. Ageless, because again, you're going to see recovery endurance being probably the big issue. Plus, it boosts recharge. So I can fire faster, more, more, more. Keep those debuffs just stacking and firing out. Pyronic is my big old, judgment nuke, which has, I think I took the stun, which goes with overcharges stun, which goes with Lancer shot stun. So I'll be able to stun stack with those three right there. I've got support core, which boosts my damage, accuracy, defense, my specials again, because I have these debuffs. I got these controls. I want to boost those up as much as I can. And then I just took radial, or sorry, the IDF radial. It's going to give me some support. I got the little drone thing following me around. And then the boss shooting his rockets out. So that is the overall concept here. Debuffing the bejesus out of a target. Every possible debuff she's got. Slotting a bunch of damage procs and control procs and resistance debuff procs to boost damage, mitigate damage, etc. Combine it all for a nice, safe, effective, damaging build. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pause the vid, get the mission set up. I'm going to run a couple solo missions. I'm going to go ahead and get some team missions going and kind of show you how this build works in practice. All right, give me 1 second. Okay, I am back. I have a council mission, Papers, Granville, set to the +2 times 6. And now as far as my choices, hey, why do I set to this? In my opinion, if you got an IO set build like, like you should, I guess. I hate to say it, but I don't want to sound like an elitist, but if you're playing the game, modern game right now and you don't have a bunch of IO sets, I mean, you're cheating yourself, to be honest. Unless that's your, you want to play with just general IOs or SOs, whatever. But anyway, if you got an IO set build with recipe, you got all these set bonuses, you should be able to easily handle as a solo person. Plus two, at incarnate level, I'm technically 51 right now, so these guys are technically going to be plus one to me, even though they'd be level 52s, and I should be able to handle 6 times my number, depending on what my build is, right? But this is sort of my baseline. Anybody should be able to do this. And then my follow up is going to be the plus 3 times 8, which is a little riskier for, squishy types of characters like this one here, Corruptor. If I was running my, brute side plus 4 times 8, no problem solo, uh, depending on the enemies. But anyway, that's kind of my thought process. I'm gonna run the plus 2 times 6 first, just to show you what I believe is just sort of a baseline, what you should be able to handle with an IO'd build, and then from there we're gonna go ahead and bump it up to a little bit more challenge and see how she does. All right, so let me just take a look at my situation here. Now I do have Ageless, so I don't have Clarion, so I do not have Mez protection on this character. That's going to be her weakness, right? I don't have any way to get out of Mez other than break freeze. So that will be, if I end up getting killed, that should be the reason. I'm going to have enough damage and enough debuff to clear maps and survive, but if I get Mez and then Swarm, then yeah, she's going to be squished. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn on all my stuff. I've got stealth, so I can get close. Turn on assault, turn on tactics, turn on maneuvers. I've got my temporary invulnerability up. Turn this on. I'm going to put hasten on auto fire by control clicking it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and activate support. All right, so now I am jacked up as I'm going to be. Go ahead and turn on my goodies here. What do I want to open up with? Probably not that. So that was not the one. I didn't want to open up with that debuff. But once I've got them in close, I can start blasting away, and then the poison trap is what's nice. I meant to open up with my weaken and then hit him with envenom. Let's kind of put poison out again. There's disintegrate. See if I can trigger. There's a disintegration. We see it managed to spread, but a lot of times if I target, let's say, a minion or somebody this is why, actually, I think, as an example, poison, you really do want to battle higher level stuff, because otherwise you're killing the lower level stuff way faster than your disintegrate can spread. But anyway, you open with a debuff. Try to do it correct this time. I'm going to open with a debuff, which what I want to open with is weaken. So I have it sort of in order of operations here. If I want a single target hold, I've got that. But I have a big group. Weaken, which is the minus damage, minus to hit, minus special. So if they do happen to shoot back at me, they're going to be less effective. Then I want to start to weaken envenom, weaken their resistance, defense, regen, etc. So that my incoming blasts, which are about to follow, will start doing more damage. I then can hit them with neurotoxic breath to lower speed and recharge. So 1, 2, 3. If I open with these three right here, I've effectively nuked the crap out of resistance, debuffs, whatever that they may have, or defenses. Then I can start opening up with disintegrate to start the spread, and then start blasting with the single target stuff in order to get it to start jumping. I'm going to try to target center mass on a boss who's hopefully in the center of the group. And then I can just kind of go down my chain here. Start to disintegrate, bang, bang, bang. Hopefully I start spreading disintegration, and then I start opening up with my bigger stuff, the AoEs, the cones, piercing beam, cutting beam, overcharge. And if anything's still standing, I can nuke the crap out of them with Pyronic. Here's my 2 buffs at the end of the chain. Here's my self buffs. Okay, so that's my layout. I'm just going to go right down the line. Fire, debuff, debuff. This is the poison trap that I have to get in close. And because I am hovering, I need to hover low in order to drop this on the ground. This is a placeable. So you do need to be aware of that. But I'm targeting the Archon. He looks like he's center mass. I'm going to go ahead and eat a couple of these Skittles just to... I don't see any vampires in this group, so I'm not going to worry about any sort of break free. So I'm going to hit him debuff 1, debuff 2, debuff 3. Okay, let me get in here closer. If I drop this down. Okay, there goes that. I mean, I haven't even fired an actual shot yet, and they're just taking damage from all the procky stuff. Boom, disintegrate is now spreading. All right. So it's a little bit of a riskier build as far as solo. Just because you really don't have anything to self-buff or heal, right? You start taking a lot of damage, you're dead. Duh. But you don't have any way to recover your health. So you gotta strike first. It's like, you know, strike first, strike hard, no mercy sensei type of thing. That is your strategy. All right, do I see any bosses in here? There's gotta be somebody hiding there somewhere. All right, well, let's unload anyway. That down. Boom. Just unload a big old blast. Overcharge. You gotta love it. Boom. See if I can get any disintegration spread. There we go. There's the hold procs firing. So I've got enough of this, that, and the other thing to make this a pretty safe, viable build, at least at this level. Oh, one thing you gotta watch out for, and this is a good example, is runners like that, because if they're disintegrating and they start running, they can then spread, which will then aggro, which is of course obviously a problem. So disintegrate, you notice I got a heal out of that. It's because I have the superior scourging blast, chance for minor PB AoE endurance and health. I put it in that because that is probably my most frequent, you know, blast power that I'm going to use. Is I'm going to constantly be throwing disintegrate out there. So I want to make sure I'm... Oh, I have all these reses. Let's get rid of a couple of these. Hopefully I don't need them. Let's do this. Get some buffing going. Self-buff. Still have these constant, like, one guys just kind of running. Let's clear out some groups here. So I would liken this build combo to sort of playing blaster style because, you know, like a blaster, you don't have much in the way. Probably blasters have more self-healing than this build does, you know, with the modern blasters with their recovery powers and stuff. You don't have that, and poison does not give it to you at all. So this is a high risk, high reward, I guess. I don't know about the reward, but high risk, high risk build. Eat some stuff here. So really your plan is just to frickin' go in there and annihilate some shit. Hopefully you don't get stunned or mezzed or whatever. have to. Oh, this big old Archon down there, that's the problem. Taking a lot of incoming damage. I don't think I can, yeah, so you can't put it there. This is probably when you want to have venomous gas, because these guys start to swarm you. Get rid of his damn Archon. Minus special is nice, you know, when you have enemy measures like that. I wish I could get some more purples. As you can see, this is going to be sort of edge of seat play style. So if you don't like that, then you don't want to play this one. Big group here, right? I do not want to aggro all this crap because I don't have the means to really contain it all. So I want to, you know, be very selective and, you know, lock down one group. But what's weird, it seems like a lot of these outlier, you know, mobs on this one. Not sure why. Or if I should just do this. Let's just open up with straight freaking damage. There we go. Yep, so she can lay it down against these lower level things. Boom, boom, dead, right? So depending on what you're fighting, if I'm fighting kind of lower stuff like this, then it might just make sense just to unleash damage. If I'm fighting higher level stuff, you know, the debuff is going to be an important component on teams especially. I'm going to try and position myself. See some dudes here I don't want to be messing with. Let me try this. Get in here like that. Break some LOS here. Disintegrate working. Vaporize some people. All right, cleared. Done. Exiting. All right, so there you go. A lot of inspiration use required. You do not have a lot of self-defense. That's just the way it is. So if that's going to scare you, then you don't play this. Again, this is really not designed necessarily as a solo. You can solo, obviously, but if you start facing a lot of higher level enemies, mez, and you don't have a lot of protection, you're going to be boned. So it's probably, if you were planning on solo, I would definitely go with something like Clarion. To, you know, protect you from mez, maybe rebirth to give you some heal, that kind of thing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and change my setting. I'm on solo bosses. I want to go to ×8. I'm gonna go to +3. So this is gonna be harder. This could be deadly. We'll see. I'm just gonna try to play smarter. I was just, you know, kind of showcasing some things there. I wouldn't necessarily do some of those things as willy-nilly as I was doing in a solo. So I'm going to be a little more tactical with this next one. Let me pause this and get a next mission ready. All right, I'm back. I know what my problem was. I didn't have my headset on. I couldn't hear the action. Got to immerse. There we go. There's some fools. Okay, so with poison and with beam rifle, you're always trying to center mass target the group so that you can splash your debuffs, you can spread the disintegrate and, you know, sort of sphere. Of course, that creates a slight challenge because you have to get closer. Whereas, you know, if I'm just back here, I pump one of these front guys, you know, I could pull one. So it kind of depends on what you're aiming to do here. I don't really see a good shot here. Try. We got 53 sitting. All right, so I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna summon my little guys. That's what you got them for. Bring them out. Let's put them into aggressive stance. Put them into aggressive stance. There we go. Now, click a couple things. Let's get some guys to show up. Close in. So I get some disintegrate spreading. These procs are nice. I think the biggest challenge you have is, you know, what you should shoot and when. You know, do I try to deliver damage through my blasts, or should I debuff? Oh, we got a lot of people here. There we go. Disintegrate, bitches. This is when you want venomous gas. Spread some more disintegration. Let's see. Let's get another poison trap out. This is why I went with so much recharge. Or, well, not tons of it, but it was a focus. The debuffs on these guys. Fire. Smoked him. Some guys over here. Let's see if we can do this. Okay, you also don't want to get too greedy with your... Oh, dude, don't go in there. Don't go in there, whatever you do. Don't want to get too greedy with your debuffs and try to hit them all at once. Let's unload nuke. Dude, why are you running? Okay, let's bring it back in. Okay, my battle orb is taking damage. Oh, they're trashing it. Oh crap, they just blew the shit out of it. I think he... Uh-oh. Stop running, you baby. Let me retreat. Nope. Give me that. Damn it, I couldn't get a frickin' green to save my life. There we go. Yeah, so the stupid IDF guy shot one of the other groups. That's the problem with pets, guys. They do not know when to heal. But that's the problem with this build, right? It's kill or be killed. You get more than, like I mentioned during the build discussion, you can get overrun if you got a couple different groups. You get mez. I got immobilized there at one point. I don't have any way to heal myself. So you're pretty much stuck. And so I was just trying to, like, you know what, I'm going to take as many of these guys down with me as I can. And then go from there. So I got, might have been 2 bosses. No, all right, this boss here. Who's that guy? Okay. So let's do this. Let's jack this guy up. Things are obviously easier with a team. You're able to unleash your debuffs, just destroy stuff, and not have to worry about survival as much. If there's a single target or two, I mean, you can just keep unleashing pretty quickly to dispatch them. All right, we need, make sure we got one of these. Turn that on. This is a group of 54s. There's probably a boss in there somewhere. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plant my trap right here. So I'm betting. As I was saying, you don't want to get too greedy with the debuffs and try to hit every single one because you're just standing out there longer and longer. Come on, trigger it. See if I can get this thing to build. It's a nice little choke point there. Boom. So much more edge of your seat type of play, as I was saying. Any bosses in here? I don't see any. Lots of little measures, though. Target you. Try this crazy shit. Disintegration spread? No? Yes? There we go. Got immobilized again. This time wasn't so bad. Yeah, oftentimes your best defense is just annihilate the enemy. I'm going in a circle here. Let's head back this way. Don't know if the boss is this way. Let's go take a look. There he is. Alright, so what we want to do is hit him. So I'd hit him again. Yeah, I think the key here is not to get cute. Just shoot crap until it stops moving. Shoot crap till it stops moving. Just leave these guys in defense mode, see if it makes a difference. I like having that extra range that you get from the intuition alpha. Nice. I mean, probably for solo play, it'd be just better to focus on blasting the crap out of things. Because, you know, I think you have some decent debuffery with your beam rifle plus the slotting with some of the controls, and not focus so much on your poison stuff. Because I was trying to, show poison stuff a lot. The poison stuff is great, but the ultimate debuff, right, is they're dead. So if you're throwing out your poison debuffs and you're trying to layer them on, like you're trying to go weaken, and venom, neurotoxic breath, hold, poison. By the time you cycle through that whole thing, the initial debuffs are either wearing off or they're recovered and they're running and they're scattering and they're blasting you. You get mezzed and then that's it. Whereas if I went disintegrate, single shot, charge shot, nuke, things are dead. All right, in a team, tougher enemies, 54s, big old boss, AV, something like that, I can start layering on these debuffs and then supplement that with some of the blasts. So I think that'll kind of be the change or difference you might see. But anyway, survive. I died one time, and that really wasn't my fault. There was, the two groups came at me. I took out the first one. The second one got aggroed by the pets. The pets got crushed. I was down. I was reeling at that point. So anyway, I don't think that was the problem with the build. It was just, bad timing. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get a team going, or join a team. Be right back. Oh, sorry, I forgot to start it. I got all excited. Taking on Pyriss, the Devouring Earth. Got a small team here going. Vernon von Grun's arc. Got just team of 5. We've only done one fight so far. Got some weird damaged, toxic-y stuff here. Debuffs from the Devouring Earth, so this should be fun. So now I can actually layer on some frickin' debuff on some people. See, we got 3 of us are incarnated. Our brute is not. What was this brute? 44. Alright, so everybody else is 50. The blaster is 50, but I believe not incarnated yet. Might have some incoming, I don't know. That was patrol that was making that noise. All right. Pew Pew. Yeah, usually Devouring Earth are kind of a tough nut to crack because they got a lot of debuff and crap. So hopefully we can see how Poison will just peel them open. I don't want to drop my Poison Trap here. So I went with a smaller team just so you can see a little bit more of a showcase that if I grab a bunch of 54, sorry, incarnated dudes just shredding people. What the frick? I got walked into that. How's he still alive? There we go. These guys disappeared out of nowhere. No, you bastards. I don't know where the rest of the team is, but I feel they are not here. Eat some Skittles. How many guys are there? Jesus. I'm enjoying these guys. Ambush spawned right on top of me, it looks like. And then they had some on them. We did it. Did it. Alright, let's exit this. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Let's fly up here. Contact. Can I call Vernon? Cannot call him. Mission. Let's see. Let's get blackmail information, right? Or steal supplies. One of the two. Go to TT, maybe? Oh, wait. Somebody else has got it. Clockwork. So I'll run a couple more missions here just to kind of showcase the build. Sorry I didn't get to kind of comment, and I started that one a little bit late. I started getting in there, fighting, forgot I had paused the vid. So you get to see the full one this time. And I was in the middle of inviting a couple people, so I got distracted. So we got, Defender giving some electric buffs. We got our Brute who can get out there. You got your debuffer with our, what you call it, spider there. Crab. I think he's a crab, yeah. I'm just gonna jerk around, grab maybe another guy or two. Bring in a group. See if I can get some of this disintegration to spread. But as you'll see, guys drop so quick that by the time it takes hold, it's like you have to purposely put yourself at risk just to get it to. See, it's a lot harder to kind of get disintegrate to spread when you're solo. I'll bring these guys, pull them. So I'm more just trying to get shit to proc than I am actually, playing the way I would, right? Normally I'd lead with some debuff like this. But I want to see if the disintegrate is useful, That's kind of the problem with beam rifle disintegrate is you gotta purposely make it work. You gotta plan it. It's not very natural, I guess. At least with this combo. And then by the time it does, disintegrate, everything's dead around it. So I'm usually just disintegrating a single target. feel like those little pew pew knockdowns. Uh-oh, our tank is getting, our brute's getting spanked somewhere. Split up, that's what happens. Oh, they ran right by that thing. Poison trap. Not too cool. Guess he's got that guy handled. What are these guys fighting over here? Oh, got a whole nother level. On spread, damn it. There we go. That's the other thing, it's not like a guaranteed spread either. It's my boy. I don't know where he is. Oh, he's way the frick over there. Down he goes. Well, I guess we're bailing out. Defender was about to get smoked, so he clicked out. Smart move, right? Dude, you barely made it. Yeah, Raven. Alright, Raven's got to bail out. Talk to Vernon if I can. Is there a mission over there that they can mess with? What is that one? Mission? Contact. Let me go see Vernon. You know, if we get another person, I will. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go with the 4. I mean, you can see we're doing fine. Contact. Give me Shadow Spider. Yes. Missions. Components. So Vernon, he's got a lot of Devouring Earth. I don't know if his mission is in town here. I think it's not. let's run this one. Get through this twisted mess of Granville. Go. Let's see that. Steal the devices from the council. Yeah, maybe we'll do that one later. All right. Okay, 54 times 8. Red team can take one more. Starting now. Starting. All right, let's go ahead and run this mission. It's probably the last one I've run. So, and we've been a little bit scattered, so it's kind of hard to necessarily hold on, say, oh yeah, this is the awesomeness of Poison. She's handling her own. I'm not trying to be some buff bot healer like that. The Feder was taking a beating. Not that I just said, oh, screw him, but I'm like, I'm not going to worry about it right now. I gotta. Let's get this shit locked down, huh? Taxi Boy. Should we get Taxi Boy? I don't know. This could turn into a monster mash in a second here. Whatever. I'll grab a couple more bodies. Might actually be easier to show Poison because with more bodies I don't have to do as much solo, or it just turns into a monster mash because everybody's incarnated. Let me see what we got. Taxi's incarnated, Power Boost incarnated. Yeah, we're all freaking incarnates. Alright, well, anyway, I don't think you're going to see much at this point. Other than Pew Pew shoot stuff. But once you got a tank, I can sit here and just go in. Put down my little egg. Alright, there is a boss over here. I'm going to see if I can keep him from causing mayhem. So it is nice with Poison. You can single target, lay out some boss that's on the perimeter. See, that's the issue right there, right? I killed my anchor for that disintegrate super fast. So he only splashed once. So, beam, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to be doing all this disintegrate, but not in practice because stuff dies so fast. Why not, right? Come on, baby. Too late. I didn't make it. I didn't make it. I could have followed the others, but I'm like, screw it. I didn't make it. Two, three, four. I took a bunch of them out with me. I saw somebody behind me, and then they turned around and left. Hmm. Yeah, I just got greedy just because I could. Like I said, I thought I saw someone behind me, and then they disappeared. We did it, I think. That's the last one. You just got on the team not too long ago. All right, I'm gonna end it there. I think you've seen what you need to see. You've got a lot of debuff. You can lay out some decent damage. Survivability, of course, is an issue. You've seen that because you don't have a lot of self-survival skills. And so, if you don't play on a team, you're going to have to be more calculated with your positioning, decision making, that kind of thing. If you do play on a team, then you want to stick with the team. You know, the obvious sort of stuff. You're not just going to run and gun like, you know, some builds can do. Other than that, you can debuff the bejesus out of things. It's kind of hard to show without sort of AV missions to really showcase that. You know, paper stuff and some tip missions aren't really going to cut it. But powerful build in its niche. All right, thanks for tuning in. I'll pause or stop this, and I'll catch you in the next one.